Okay, good morning. I'm here in Phoenix, Valerie Milano, the Hollywood Times. I'm usually in Hollywood, but not right now. So thank you for joining us. And I'm so happy to have our guests here. We're going to be talking about the film Hummingbirds. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Silvia Castaños. I am the director and subject of the film. And yeah,
Yay. And we might be having the other subject of the film, joining us midstream here. We hope so. So we'll see what happens. Thank you. Thank you again, Sylvia. Given the film's focus on queer punk rock rebellion and coming of age in the Texas borderlands, what were the initial motivations and creativity visions that drove you to tell this particular story?
yeah. I think it's like a silly but complicated, but like a good story. I think so when I was in high school, I was in the film club and I made a short film um, based on like this poem I wrote. And Jillian and Miguel, whom are our producers and camera person, were in Laredo, where I grew up, and they were kind of like seeking to do a film with like, in the same spirit of like the film before this one, Jillian like helped make Maiden Trip with a young girl, and so she wanted to do something similar again. So, she was getting to meet a lot of people at this magnet school that's in my hometown. And I, made this short film. She came to the film festival that short film played at, and it was like a small film festival for like people in my hometown. And I didn't get to go to the film festival because I had bad grades. So I was told no. And so I didn't get to go to the film festival. So I didn't get to meet Jillian in person, but she watched that short film and loved it and then sent me a Facebook message and was like, hi, like I'm this like producer from New York and like I would love to make this a film with you, or like I would love to hear a lot about like what you aspire to be and all of those things. And I was like, oh, this is like a spam message. Like it's a scam and like this person's like attempting to kidnap me. But then I was like, yeah, sure. Like, why don't we meet at like a well-lit public place? And I can talk to you. And, Jillian, that same day that we met, we, what's it called? Estefanía texted me if I wanted to play kickball. And Jillian was showing me all these like big fancy like camera equipments that they had. And I was like, oh, like, why don't you come hang out with me and my friends to play kickball and we get to play with the cameras too? And it was kind of like a beautiful first date in which like we got to know each other and we got to play with these cameras and we got to like hang out and play with all our friends. And we like the only reason we had to finish filming was because the cameras, like the batteries all died, and then like the mic packs all ran out of like memory. And so then I don't know, it just kind of was like this whole like we want to keep having like adventures with you guys and we want to show you where it was that we grew up. And like I don't know, and I think we had like this like great bond as a team, and just became really, really good friends. And like I like would like to say that, Hummingbirds is more than just like, oh, we worked together, we made this film together, but also like these are all like my really good friends now. And like they, in the same spirits that Estefanía and I go and like fuck around, they also do the same thing. So
And speaking of Estefania, we got her now. Thank you for joining us. And
hi.
and you only missed one question, but I'm glad that you're here. And we said you might be a little late, but at least we got you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So I'm just going to move on to the next question, and you can chime in anytime you want. So could you girls elaborate on the collaborative filmmaking process that was employed in the making of Hummingbirds? I mean, Hummingbirds centers around the lived experience of Silvia and Estefania. How did you capture their personal stories and perspectives authentically? I want you to elaborate on the collaborative filmmaking process that you both did in the making of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but like well, Estefanía and I, ever since we were young, were always creating art together. Like there's like a video of us on Instagram somewhere of like me reading poetry and her playing the piano. And that's just kind of always been the vibe of what we do. Like we've always just wanted to be creative together and like, there's like videos of us like doing our makeup together, but like doing really crazy makeup and like, putting on these large false lashes or like there's videos of us like dancing together. And like, I think we've always just been like, our friendship has always been like artistically inclined, which is beautiful. But also like, I think what was really cool is that the force that drives this film has always been like friendship, like not just like between Estefania and I, but that's kind of like what we brought into the film. And then I think what was beautiful is that like the rest of our team, like Jillian and Miguel and like Diane, Anna, Leslie, all of these people, just kind of were like, oh, like this is how we're gonna work then, because otherwise this film can't be made. Like we have to, like we did this really cool thing where we were like having sleepovers and like we would get this like huge Airbnb and like because it was too hot during the day, we would like swim around all day because the Airbnb had a pool, and then we would all like hang out by the hammocks and then like eat a bunch of fruit and be like, well, what do we want to do today? And like, what are we gonna film? And what do you feel? And what do you think? And like, um, yeah, I don't know, Beba, if you want to talk about also your experiences.
Um, oh no, yeah, that was really fun. I wish we could do that again. But yeah, there's like a lot of people working on the film. There was a lot of people working on the film, so I feel like being friends with each other was really important and to capture like our friendship, and they understood how it worked in that way. Um, but yeah, I don't have anything else to add other than what Sylvia said, basically.
I just wanted to know, Sylvia, in what ways did you and Beba's personal backgrounds and experiences influence the narrative and themes of the documentary? Like, what specific techniques or storytelling methods did you use to convey the punk rock rebellion and nonconformist attitudes of you both?
Yeah, honestly, no technique. Just, this is just how we are, to be honest. There wasn't like, I mean, it's like not during filming. I think the thing I like to tell people is that like I think people get when there's like documentary filmmaking, there's like a huzzah moment in the middle of documentary filmmaking that I've heard a lot of directors get, and they're like, "This is what the film is going to be, and this is what we're going to continue to do." And we didn't get that because COVID. And I think like once we were like cameras down after COVID, and um, Bev and I post that um we were like, oh, here's some things. Like when we watched a lot of rough cuts, we were like, well, we would like to talk now and we would like to bring in our own like perspectives of what's happening now, but through poetry. And that's like a lot of what you hear like in these like, it feels like I don't know how to like vignettes almost in the middle of vignettes, like you have a pause and then it's just us talking in the present moment. And like it feels like a diary almost, right? Like if Beba and I like picked up something and we were like, oh, remember this, remember that. And like, I don't know, like I think, yeah, there was no techniques while we were filming. I think a lot of it was like, yeah, like if you ask me and Estefania to sit by the river, like it's like these are things that are remind us of that. And like we were sitting by the river and those are like things that we think about. Or like if we're by the playground, these are things that we think about. And like it was never like, oh, let's go to this place and talk about this. It was like, oh, I want to go hang out at the playground. And then as we were at the playground, it was like, oh, do you remember like the snack place that blah blah blah? And then like my cousin owns this, and you kind of just start going into this like these conversations. So
Okay. Well, how did you gals balance the playful and irreverent elements of the film with the more serious and introspective moments?
yeah, I mean, again, like same vibes of like we used to do this thing where we would put up like cards up on the like wall of all the scenes that were written, or not like, yeah, we would write the scenes on the cards and then put them up. And then we would look at them, and sometimes we would just like watch the cuts over and over again. And like I remember specifically like when we were doing it, I like our editor Isidore is like a great editor, and he would ask us these like provoking questions. Like I remember him asking us like, so like Sylvia and Beba, like when you watch the scene, what does it make you think of? Right. And so like we would then say like, this is what I'm thinking of as I'm watching this now, right? So like I remember like for example, like Izzy asked Beba like about the scene at the house when they're at the house, and they asked, Izzy was like, what do you think about when you're like in this house, like watching yourself in this house? And she's like, oh, I think about my dad and like my family and like all of these things, right? That and Izzy like also was just, I don't know, able to like like do this thing where he would like ask us these questions and then talk to us a lot and then edit based off of those things, rather than being like, well, what do you want? What do you want to see? It was just more so like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? And I think that's also why it feels so natural that, that's why it works that way.
Estefania, you're awfully quiet. Would you like to
Yeah,
add?
I was gonna add to that. So in the beginning, before we had Isidore, most of us were first-time filmmakers and first-time editors and producers and stuff like that. So a lot of the techniques or like the methods that we used to edit and figure out how the movie was gonna look like was it wasn't like I had like an idea of like how people edit or how people do filmmaking. It was just the way I wanted to do, the way Silvia wanted to do it, the way the others wanted to do it. And we just like talked about it really quick. And that's how we came up with the whole poster and the cards. And it was just something that was easy for us. Um, and yeah, so we just had to come up with things that worked for us and that were easy for us to understand. And um, so yeah, that's why the cards were really easy for us. And then yeah, we had Isidore in, and he helped us a bit more how to understand the whole editing and how to really connect our story to the film and how to really feel those together. But yeah.
Yeah, that's smart. The card idea is very smart. Cool.
Mhm.
So Hummingbirds explore significant cultural, social, and political themes related to queer identity and punk subculture. How did you approach these things in the documentary? How did you learn about them? How, that kind of thing.
Beba, do you want to go or should I go?
Go first. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I don't know if there was like an approach. We're just gay and punk, and that's, I don't know, like, like Beba used to like tattoo me in her room. I don't know, like that's just like when I was like a teenager, we were both teenagers, and like Beba also graduated before I did, and she would do this thing where she'd be like, "Oh, do you want to go to the mall?" Forgetting that I was fully in a math class, and I'd be like, "Yeah," and then I just leave school to go hang out with Estefanía. And I think like, I don't know, I don't think there's ever like, especially like in a documentary that's about oneself as like a young person, like I don't know if there's ever like, here's what I want to convey as myself, when really it was more so like, oh, well, also like I think the reason why there was never like a here's what I want to show is because for a long time, I think Estefania and I thought this was like a little fun project that we'd get to show our moms. And then we'd be like, and mom thought that was cute and cool. And, like we got to show it in like the local Alamo Draft House, and all of our family members loved it. And I think that's just like to the extent that we all thought it would go to. So that's why it made it easy to just like not think about like, oh, in the future, when we're interviewing with the Hollywood Times, what might they think about us rather than, And so I think, I don't know, I think that's what it is. And like Estefania and I, are both like young queer punk, and like before even we were filming, we would go to drag shows, and like all of our friends are queer, and like we would hang out in these kinds of spaces. And so I don't know, I think, and then also especially where we live, like having a safe space between all of us, I think was also very important.
Yeah, and now that I'm speaking with you gals, I think maybe my questions, maybe they're just too inaccurate of the way that you guys think. You know what I'm saying? The generation is different. Maybe I should have had my 23-year-old daughter, ask these questions, but that's okay. It's all good because I think my article's pretty good. So I'm more on track.
Yeah. No, these are great questions. I think I
Okay.
also just want to bring like a realistic, like I hope we're not giving you the same answer over and over again, but
No, it's
it's
all good. It's all good.
like
Yeah, I
So
was gonna. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, sweetheart. No, you go.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, yeah, like Sylvia said, everything was just what was happening at the time. There wasn't like a
Yeah.
time where we were thinking like this is what we want to like share or whatever, like specifically. But like one of the things was like the whole woman healthcare rights and stuff like that. So Texas had this like big law thing going on at the time. And we were also going through something at the time, which was like abortions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so yeah, got really into I don't know if you want to talk about that. I feel like it's like you were learning
yeah.
about that and I was learning with you as well. And at the time that we were filming, like they were recording us doing like learning all of those new things. And so that became really important to share. Like we obviously said like these are some scenes that we want to show to the
Yeah.
world. That's what we want to put into the movie as well.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point, Beba. Like, so yeah, Estefanía and I, of course, talk about like our abortion experiences and like, especially like in South Texas and like all of like the hoops we had to jump through and like the like intense, because yeah, like it was just really like hard to get it done and like it was like scary and like I don't know if you remember this, Beba, but the doctor, because we both had the same doctor and he would just like say things, not in a bad way. He wasn't saying bad things. He was a really good doctor, but he was like saying things that I thought were like very radical for a doctor to say. Like he would be like, I like legally have to turn this screen around so you can see the baby, but I won't tell anyone if you like look the other way. Like it's like not illegal for you to close your eyes, right? And then he would say legally I have to like say all of these like, you know, cons of like getting an abortion, but like as a doctor, I'm going to tell you that they're not true and like blah blah blah. So I don't know, like when he was that way, I think I thought about how Estefanía and I could help other people in our hometown and like how we could educate people on how to get access to that if they have the means and like if they don't have the means, how to still safely get an abortion and like their options. Because I think like the hardest part about all this is that Estefanía and I just were uneducated the entire time and like we had to like call a bunch of people and like look through the internet and like scour so much and like I don't know, it wasn't bad. It was just like really hard. And I was like, I wish there was just like someone who would have just told me, this is the number you call, this is what you say. When you get there, this is what you do. Here are the rules that you have to follow. And then I think it would have been so much easier. Um, but yeah, and so it was really cool to like, and then, Bev and I did a lot of other different actions based off of that. So like in the film, you see that we're like doing like a teach-in of like how to get an abortion and like how to get a safe abortion and like what people could do for this to like reach Laredo, Texas. But also like Bev and I did like period drives where like people can come pick up like pads and tampons for free. Because we have like a high rate of like for single mothers in Laredo or like other things that we did were like if we had friends who were experiencing the same issues, like we would like pool funds and be like, how can we send this person to go get an abortion and like find people who would give rides and stuff. So
Interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting. I just can't wait for other people y'all's age to watch this interview as well. The animation and the original music play a significant role in Hummingbirds. How did these elements contribute to the storytelling and enhance the impact of the documentary?
So I did the music, some of the music for Hummingbirds. Yeah, so I wrote these. I actually didn't think that they would use my music at all, but
Really?
well, like I wasn't planning on like I guess I wasn't thinking like, oh, let me make music for the film. I just wrote a song, which is Kids. That's the one that you would hear in the intro. I wrote it for Silvia, and then I showed it to Silvia, and then like I texted it to her, and then they just texted me, um, I'm gonna show this to Jill. And then the next minute it was just like, oh, we're gonna put it in the film, we're gonna use it in the film, and they were sending me like trailers of the movie already, like with the song, and I'm just like, oh, what's going on? But yeah, that song was made for Sylvia. And I guess like yes, I had no like thinking that it was gonna be in the film, but I was like I did have the film in mind because the song does say stuff about us being kids and like stuff like that. And then Milky Way, which is the one in we use parts of that one in some of the monologues that we have in the film, and then the ending credits. That one I did want it to come out in the film for sure. I wrote it for the film, and it's again about Sylvia and I and us just like wanting to run away and stuff like that and go to space and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it was super cool doing those songs and having them in the film. I've never had an experience like that. Never had my music, have people listen to my music. Have a lot of people listen to my music because I do have like my friends and family in Laredo who would listen to my 2 songs on Spotify. But this is like I've been to festivals where like people are always like asking me for like, hey, when are you gonna release this music? And it's like super cool. I've never had that before. Um, I also did work with producers from Laredo and as well from the Valley. So that was really cool. I got to see some really cool studios. And with the animation, Yense did that. I forgot her last name. But she worked on the animation. She's from Laredo as well. She did a super good job in capturing like what we wanted the film to look like. But yeah.
Oh, good for you. Oh, that's such a great story to know about the music. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Cool. Well, we're winding down. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? I would like to know also, before we wind down, because I see Sammy came back, like how we can, I know all this, but our viewers and readers would love to know how they can get a hold of you gals and also the film. I know they would like to know how they can, if there's your website, social media, talk about that a minute.
We have Instagram. So um what the film's Instagram is Hummingbirds Película. So that's just the word hummingbirds and then the word película is Pelicula. And then Estefanía is Savandra, right? Is that correct? And Beba also has a Spotify that you guys should go check out. It's Andromeda, which is I guess I could spell it, but Andromeda. I don't know how to say it in English. And then Andromeda. There you go. And then my Instagram is Silvia and then _ hummingbirds. So those are places that you can find us. And honestly, that's just where we update the most. Like anytime we're screening, every time we're at a film festival, like we're always like putting it on Instagram.
Estefania, anything else?
Yeah, if you just go to the Hummingbirds Instagram, you'll see our bios. But about where you can see the movie though. So we are showing screenings today and well, all week, right? Yes. We're showing screenings today. The times will be on our Instagram. And then for our community in Laredo, hopefully we get to show it. Have some theaters around the world to show it. I don't know which theaters yet, but it will be in some theaters in the country.
Right. Well, we're the Hollywood Times Official is our YouTube channel, so they'll be able to see this interview as soon as we do the edits. And our The review will be on our website, hollywoodtimes.net. So just thank you so much, and keep us posted for your next endeavors and creativity. And thank you, Sammy, and thank you, two beautiful ladies, and keep up the great work. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Great day. Bye-bye.